we want to talk about the Steam Deck that was announced, like a rival to the Nintendo Switch. It looks very similar to Nintendo Switch at the very least, but I don't know if you guys heard about it. So Steam, the company that pretty much hosts a ton of fucking games, like a library of games that you can purchase to play on PC, is releasing
Yeah,
their
Steam
own.
Steam can turn your PC into a console. Some people don't like PC gaming because of it can be a little complicated. It can be a little tough to get into. Barrier of entry can be a little high. Through Steam, it made the barrier of entry a lot lower, and it kind of consolified PC gaming and easing the access of them, and it made it a lot easier for people to get into PC gaming.
I can play. I remember wanting to play old Final Fantasy games, old PlayStation games. All that shit's on there. Like you can just go and pay for it, and you can play everything you wanted to play without having to own a PlayStation or whatever. So they're releasing a console, like, but it's basically a Switch because it can be docked. It's literally right. Like, isn't it literally the same thing in a way as the Switch?
From what I've heard, yeah, I heard it can be docked,
Yeah, I'm looking at specs right now,
and
so
it's portable.
I'll just read out some things about it. So it costs at base, like the base model is $400. So it's priced a bit above the Switch, but if you know about Steam's insane library of games, you know, okay. And there's a high end version that's 650, so it can get pretty expensive.
Yeah, so I'm not sold on the Steam Deck. I won't be getting one for a couple reasons.
Let's
One,
hear it.
I think the price is really okay. Actually, number one, if you can type in Google, whoever you are, type in Google Steam Deck, right? And just look at it, look at the picture. Now, I want you to draw your eyes to the right side of the screen, okay? You got me? I want you to look at the buttons, the Y, the X, the A. I want you to look at the B button. Why is the B button is falling off the side of the console? The B button is sad as look at this. Look at that B
Yo,
button.
I'm looking at it now, and that's actually really like I'm doing exactly what you said. That's actually really funny. It's literally hanging off the fucking thing.
The B button is curved off the side of the console. Okay. So first of all, I don't know if that's going to be fixed on release, but
I hope so.
right now the button placement, when I'm looking at it, right, we got the right and left stick, cool. The way things are positioned, you can tell there's not enough room for what's going on. Then they got these two haptic pads, which I'm assuming are going to simulate like mouse, which is should be fine. Haptic feedback has made a lot of improvements over the year.
Yeah.
My problem with the Steam Deck is that Steam has a huge library of games. Yes. A lot of those games, though, like a lot of like the keyboard mouse games are going to be very hard to play on this thing.
Right. Like
Like
this isn't gonna make portable versions of those games any better, really.
you're not going to want to play what's that? You're not going to want to play Counter Strike on this. The people that love Counter Strike, they're not going to play Counter Strike on this.
Right.
A lot of those like really mouse intensive games, I don't think you're going to really want to play on this. Now that said, this is really good for, this is really good for games that you would play like on console. Like let's say you wanted to play Final Fantasy X. I don't think FF10 is on the Switch, but let's say you want to play games that aren't on the Switch.
It is
Portably. The Steam Deck is good for that, but once again, it's $400 to $600.
Yeah.
My other problem with it is this: Valve. Now it could change. Valve has a horrible track record with supporting their hardware post-release. For example, they released the Steam console. They've released like a home console version of Steam before.
I never even heard of this before.
Yeah, you can look it up. They released a Steam console, which basically did not go supported after the first year. And after release, it was basically, we all just found out it's just a gaming laptop in the disguise of a console box. And the Steam controller, look, if you look up the Steam controller, first of all, just look at it. You'll see the roots of why the B button is hanging off the side of the Steam Deck. The Steam controller just looks wonky as fuck. But also, it just didn't get support post-release.
Yeah, that's scary to me. I don't like that. Like
a lot of Valve's hardware does not get supported post-release.
Yeah,
And that's what makes me scared of the Steam Deck.
The highest model has 512 gigs of storage, and then the base model has 64 gigs. I don't think so. The scary thing is like the base model having only 64 gigs is just not a lot at all. But I do see that it has removable storage, so there's that. So you could buy a base model and you could just put in an SD card, which I'm assuming most people will do, and you can get as much as the SD card allows. It has 16 gigs of RAM, which is really good, pretty standard.
Yeah.
16 gigs of RAM. So that should be pretty good for some intensive games that need a lot of like power and memory. And the display is 720 on the like when you're playing in handheld. So the same as the Switch, the base Switch. 720.
I actually think that's better than the Switch. On handheld, I don't know if I don't think handheld 720.
I thought it was 720. I thought that it was 1080 docked.
I
Maybe
don't
I'm wrong.
remember. I don't remember.
Okay. Well, it has this Steam Deck has 720 pixels when it's actually handheld, and then docked this is up to 8K at 60 hertz, so or
Yeah.
4K at 120, which is actually, I mean, it's basically a portable PC. Like if we're
Yeah, yeah. No, I
with
think
the
I
amount
think
of-
it's going to be cool. The thing that scares me, the biggest thing that scares me is two things. That B button,
right.
that B button does not bode because the fact that they released that fucking picture of the console with that B button look like they think that's okay.
Yeah.
That
It
scares
looks
me about
bulky.
the
That fucking
internal
system.
decision
You're worried
process.
about that. I'm worried about things like overheating.
But also, that's the thing. I don't expect this to be supported a year after release. And
That
that's
would
the
be
big
so
thing that
it's so
scares me.
expensive. That would be terrible.
Whereas like the Switch, yes, the Switch is not as powerful as the PS5, PS4, whatever. The thing that is good about the Switch is that Nintendo, it's Nintendo's thing, so they're continuously supporting it. Also, they have Nintendo exclusive games on it. Like you can't get Nintendo games anywhere else. Whereas
Yeah.
this Steam Deck, I can get any game on it on my PC for
Right.
$650. I can make a budget gaming PC that runs really well. No, yes, it won't be portable, but
I think if you want to play portable games, it is kind of a hard sell because like I don't know exactly what game do people want to play portable so bad that
yeah.
they're willing to pay this price to do it.
Yes. In
Most
my experience, the portable games I play are usually smaller, like indie titles. Titles that don't require for example, the Nintendo Switch, I think, is cheaper and already does the job of playing the games you would want to play portably. Smaller indie games or just
even like Crash Bandicoot and shit
lower.
like that is, you know what I mean? Like Spyro the Dragon.
Yeah. Yeah.
It has
Yeah.
like a lot of those little portable games, like all the Final Fantasies, which are turn based. They're all on the Switch. 7, 8,
Mhm.
9, 10, 12 on there, 11.
I don't think
11
12. I don't think 12. Nah, 12 and 11. I don't think are on the Switch.
I think 12 is 12 the one that has
12 is the one with Vaughn. And,
yeah, it's on there. It's on there.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so the Switch actually has like a crazy library of games that people will want to play portable, I would say. And it's
Yeah.
like you said, it's way cheaper. It's backed by, a company that is known for gaming. Like it's Nintendo.
Like we all have our gripes with Nintendo, but the
But
point
at
is,
the end of the
4 or
day,
5 years after release, like it's still a supported console.
yeah,
Now, look, I could be wrong. Steam Deck could be supported, but every single one of Valve's hardware releases before this have not been supported post-launch. So if I get a Steam Deck, it won't be for 2 to 3 years from now when they've proven to me that it's still supported.
yeah, I don't think this is something that I personally would buy on launch because, for one, I still can't answer the question of what game do I want to play portable so bad that I'm willing to pay this amount of money to do so that I
Yeah.
can't already do on my Nintendo Switch. So there's a lot, like that's a loaded question, but they do need
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
like, if you introduce any product to the market, you're basically saying there's a purpose for it. Like there's a reason for it
Yeah.
to exist. And I don't understand what the reason for this to exist is quite yet. So,
Like on the picture, right? They show some of their games like Control, Doom, Hades, and I can't see that other game on the side, right?
yeah.
They show some of the games on there. Hades is a great example. Hades is a $20 game. Like I don't need to spend $600 to play Hades on the go. Like I have a Switch. Like I can play Hades on the go already. And that's what I mean. Like on the go, those are the games I kind of play. Those games that are like Hades, those smaller budget games, the games I play on the go. You don't need a big budget console for that. Whereas I play like Breath of the Wild at home. Like I don't really ever play Breath of the Wild on the go. I play that when I have the Switch docked and I'm playing it at home.
Yeah, I mean, I like buying new gadgets and shit like any other nerd. Like I love like new tech. I just need to see a reason why I would want to buy this, and maybe maybe it will present itself. But as of right now, like you can't even play like Pokemon and shit like that, on this thing. Because
I want to be excited for this because I've been burned though. I bought the Steam controller. As ugly as it looks, I was like, because I still kind of am a Steam fanboy. Like I like Steam a lot. So I bought the Steam controller because I wanted to support, and I was like, even if this one isn't the best, if I can support it, help show interest in it, then maybe like we'll get another iteration of it or blah blah blah. Like that never happened. Like there was no real post-launch support for the Steam controller. The Steam console, like the official Steam console they released, I think it was called the Steam Machine. I convinced one of my family members, my cousin, to buy that because he wanted to get into PC gaming, but he was always a console gamer and he doesn't have time. He's got 2 kids and a full-time job. He's like, I don't got time to learn all the ins and out of the PC. And I was like, why don't you try this Steam machine? Blah, blah, blah. Broke it down to him. He was like, all right. He bought it. And the Steam machine, once again, not really any post-launch support. And that's kind of what I fear for the Steam Deck. So, like, I can't suggest this to anybody until they prove to me that it'll be supported.
Yeah, and we'll be following it. We'll definitely, because that first month of it being out, it's going to be all over and like reviews.
Like, look at
news.
what was that thing that the Stadia. I called from the gate Stadia was going to flop. I said so early on, I was like, I don't know why people are buying into the Stadia hype.
What was it? What did they drop?
The Google Stadia. It was the thing dropped by Google.
Okay.
It was, I'll just call it a console. It was essentially like a console. You hook it up and you stream games through it.
Okay.
Like, so like you don't buy and download the games, you stream them through this service. So like
they were trying to convert
Tomb
the
Raider.
gaming world to streaming, basically, like trying
and
to
so
find
you
a
could
way to do that.
stream Tomb Raider and play it, and they were like, and we use all of this magic technology to make the gameplay experience amazing, and et cetera. They were talking all this shit like it was going to be great.
Right, like it
And
was going
I
to change
remember-
gaming.
Yeah, and I remember like hearing a lot of stuff they said ahead of time and saying like on my stream and to a lot of people that I know, I was like, listen, the Stadia is not going to be it. Like, I promise you. That shit launched, and okay, Fraser didn't even know what the fuck it was. All right.
No.
So the Stadia, and it came out like last year, 2 years ago. Like the Stadia was a complete flop. Now, mind you, these are two completely different companies, but the faith I had in Stadia is kind of the same faith I have in this thing. I think it has. I also think nobody would care about it if this came out 5 years ago. Everybody would laugh at it. The only reason why people are excited by this is because of the Nintendo Switch.
Yep, it paved the way for something like this.
Yeah, if this came out 5-6 years ago, PC gamers would be like, I don't fucking want this shit.
Right. But because Nintendo has shown that there's a really big fucking market out there for mobile gaming that can be docked, I can't imagine Nintendo ever going back to making just handhelds or
I hope
just
they
console
don't.
games.
If they revert, I'd be fucking pissed.
It's the same way we feel about Monster Hunter, right? Like, you can't go back. I feel like now Nintendo has to always make a system that is dockable and handheld, because Nintendo makes the best handhelds ever. Like, that's just, uncontested. Like, Nintendo makes the best
I saw a
handhelds.
funny meme. It was like
Here we go with the fucking memes.
it was good, man. It was like
Sega does when Nintendo don't.
Sega does and Nintendo don't.
Like that
baby.
one?
Yeah, so okay, it's a picture of the Game Gear, and it's like, this is going to be the Game Boy killer.
Oh, I know
And then-
exactly which one you're
Then
talking
it's
about.
a picture of the PSP. It's like, this is going to be the DS killer. A picture of the Vita. This is going to be the 3DS killer. And then it's a picture of the Steam Deck. It's like, this is going to be the Switch killer.
Yeah, those
like-
never age well.
People keep saying, like, whenever they're like, this is going to kill the whatever. Then now look, the Vita is more powerful than the 3DS, but for one reason or another, the Vita fucking flopped.
It flopped bad.
Like, it flopped.
That shit fell off. I only know like 4 people in my entire time of living that even have owned a Vita, and they couldn't even give me any good reason that they had it. They just kind of bought it because they like buying new shit. Like,
I bought a
literally,
Vita-
that was the reason.
I remember I bought a Vita the month before Smash 4, the 3DS came out. I bought a Vita, and my plan was, because I was like really bored and itching for Smash. I had nothing else to play at the time. I was like, I'm just going to buy a Vita and like play what's on the Vita. And there's a return policy. If you buy used consoles from GameStop, you can return them within 30 days. I was like, I'm going to buy this Vita and return it and get all of my money back in 30 days. And
Yeah,
that's
so you like
exactly what I
rented
did.
a Vita is what you did.
Yes.
Hey guys, if you like this clip, we have full video versions of our podcast episodes available on the I Am There Patreon, as well as exclusive content.
If you'd like to listen to our full podcast episodes or find us on any other social media platforms, you can do so by clicking the link tree below.